What's up, y'all? This is your boy Gerald. It is Monday, the 22nd of December, 2015. How is each and every one of y'all doing? I know. Time seems like it's flying by, isn't it? You blink twice. You were just finishing up your turkey from Thanksgiving, doing the dishes, and now you're looking for Christmas. The tree is already filled with trimmings. The room is filled with the ambiance of the season. But it's a new week, right? It is. And it's going to be a short one. That it is. So, this past weekend, your boy has been very diligent doing a lot of work. And while I'm doing a lot of work, I do a lot of reflecting. I'm burning this. This is Japanese cedar, spiritual candle. For those right off the bat that you may be going through something and you think you've got a handle on that situation, but inside you feeling a certain kind of way. I'm burning that candle for you. I feel your energy. I do. Yes, I do. But I'm putting this video out for a couple reasons, and I'm not going to try to be too winded, but because you guys matter so much to me, I've got to make sure that the intended ear, the intended heart gets their validation because, see, you matter, y'all. Your life is priceless. It always was and will always be. But there must be some structure. Therefore, you got to make some choices now that you have been putting off for a while. Yes, you have. You may have been milling over something inside you, and you're saying, you know what? I don't know if I can make it through this day with this burden on my chest. I got to make this right with me. I'm not really worried about how the outcome is going to play itself out because what matters is my peace of mind. I know I'm talking to somebody. Well, just know this. It's a long time coming, and you deserve to have the clarity. You deserve that peace of mind, and most importantly, you deserve to speak your truth. But you also know this. To speak your truth, you must be grounded. You got to speak your truth in a way that it helps purge what has been inside you for so long. I ain't got to remind you. Look at your environment. You see what's toxic and you see what's not good for you, and you know what is needed. You have to make that spiritual division a reality. So some of y'all right now may be thinking, Gerald, what am I supposed to do in less than 96 hours? It's supposed to be a day of celebration, a day of family, a day of honoring Jesus Christ. And I'm feeling the kind of shook because I know in my heart that this is all a lie to me. Because where I am in my reality, I'm not at peace. I know I'm talking to someone. You know that you got to put on a mask and you're just tired. You, your brain has been on overdrive for so long. You're tired of juggling. And you're getting to a point where you're thinking that, am I losing my mind for what I'm seeing? because the validation is you look in the mirror now, you don't recognize the person looking back, but you'll come to understand that person looking back is your truth. So if you don't like what you see looking back, it's your responsibility to change it. I think you already know that. I think you're at the point now that you're tired of using your heart, using that precious body of yours as an emotional speed bag. You know, a speed bag, for those, is that little bag that boxers use to work on their speed, to keep that rhythm going, to keep that coordination, hand-eye coordination going, and it doesn't stop. Well, I think some of y'all are tired. You already know what you need, and you're exhausted. You're doing time in your mind, and your body's paying for it. You're saying to yourself, Gerald, I only wanted just somebody to love me for me. Why won't they come into my life? Truth being told, you're not ready for them. Truth be told, you've got to look at your experiences to find your wisdom. To find your wisdom, you have to be still. That's why you got to turn that cell phone off. That's why I tell everybody, it will behoove you to pick that tool, because your cell phone is nothing but a tool, not an extension of your body. But you can't tell everybody that, because every time you go outside your door and you're driving, what do you see? Neck bent, arms extended, people driving recklessly. They're spending so much time being distracted on what is on that screen than what is in front of them. So let's look at that from a point of your life. You also have to own the fact that some of your distractions were warning signs waiting to be played out. You saw them far ahead of time. Think of it like you're driving on the road, and for those who live in an area where you have bridges and tunnels, and you're going with the flow, and so, unconsciously you have a certain rhythm that you do things. There's a certain rhythm that you do things around where you lay your head. You walk a certain way to the bathroom. You walk a certain way to your bed. You walk a certain way to your kitchen. You do this subconsciously. So let's use that metaphor of that tunnel, that bridge, and we'll say that that is your challenge. Now, first of all, you've placed yourself on that road. Yes, you have. And now you've got to navigate yourself safely to cross that bridge or that challenge. Now, you could choose to play NASCAR with your life and weave in and out and try to get ahead of the line. But every time that we speed ahead without making sure that there are no warning signs, we always have the markers that will let you know that, hey, 5 miles ahead, there's a delay, or there may be, officer friendlies out there pulling someone over. If we're not taking, if we're not being attentive on what we're doing, don't you realize we always run quicker to the delay that could have been avoided if we had just stayed the course? That's the same approach when it comes to your life. That's why I always convey this. If you want, if you have dreams and you want your dreams to be a reality, you must first know where you are first. See, if I'm just aimlessly just going through life, none of my dreams are going to come true. Only reality that's going to come out of that is a waste of time, a lot of broken promises, a lot of delay. Why? Because I didn't invest in myself. So it's important to reflect. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, well, Joel, I ain't got time because time is money. And you're right. Your most precious commodity next to yourself is your time. So let's look at your circle. The people that have access to your life day to day. Do these people validate who you are? Because these people are extensions, they represent you. Maybe for business, maybe for emotion, or maybe just by, I hate to say it, association. You happen to know. These people have one thing in common, and that's you. So if they're not progressive, does it surprise you you're not? That's where you're feeling the frustration. That's why you're seeing the disappointment. I'm saying all these things, y'all, because I too was that way for a long time. Some people may know it as procrastination. Some people may know it as fear. Some people may know it as a crutch, emotional block. But guess what? If you can think it, you can be it. But the outcome will never be as you wish it to be. It's based off the investment. So if you go in there with a mindset of, I'm only going to do this, does it surprise you that's what you get back? How is your communication skills? And I'm not saying that from a point of looking down at you. By all means, no. Let me throw that out there. Everything I convey to you is out of love and compassion. That's why nothing is written down. Everything comes from above, the Holy Spirit. I'm just a vessel, just like you. But what separates me from many other people is I know my purpose. I'm living it. So let's turn the page. You're going to make choices and you're going to have things happen and they're not going to make any sense. But what makes sense is how you deal with it. Sometimes you do have to take a detached approach. Sometimes you will see things that have nothing to do with you directly, but still impact you indirectly. Why? Because there was something that you were supposed to learn from that so that you would not experience it. I know I'm talking to someone. You may have heard something and there was a connection through that action that you felt it. There's a reason for it all. So you got to understand something, y'all. Sooner or later, for those that do not have a connection with God, your life will not turn out the way you want it until you do. That's real talk. So therefore, you're going to have to surrender to yourself. You're going to have to acknowledge your fears. You know, I always say what fear is. Fear is nothing but a abbreviation for finally everything's a reality. And the reality is, if you're not happy, you're not living your life. And if you have things in your life that do not bring the best out of you, why are you there? Why are you there? Why are you wasting your time? You do understand our life is just like that soap opera, The Days of Our Lives, and they showed the hourglass. The moment you took your first breath, your legacy was already written. But guess what? That hourglass was turned over. So every grain of sand matters. But I'll do one better. I shared this conversation with someone very dear with me, and I said this to him last night. Do you realize that every tear that you have shed in the past, there was a promise connected to it? Do you realize every pain that you have felt, there was a direction connected to it? Do you realize every setback was a set up, not acknowledged. Why? Because guess what? Everything that you've gone through, every delay that you felt, every delay, there's still a moment where there is clarity and you have to choose. You do understand. You'll never get a pass in life. You won't. Mm-mm. No. Why you think you see that old man that is bitter living alone? What he won't realize or take accountability for is he has a wealth of wisdom within himself through the things he chose not to do. That he can inspire someone so they don't make the same mistakes. I'll just say it like this. You know how we've heard that parable? The you're walking down where you have I'll just ad lib it, where somebody's in a hole and they ask for help and you jump in the hole, you can't help them because you got to help yourself. It's the same thing. Sometimes things will be brought to you, and this is a spiritual test so that you will choose. If you don't choose what's for your best interest genuinely, not by agenda, guess what happens? It comes full circle. That's why you always hear what's done in the dark comes to the light. And you know what's so amazing about that? Kings, I got love for you. My queens, I honor you. I got this feeling right now. Somebody saying, they laughing, they're saying, that's why I do my dirt on my lonely, Gerald. I don't want nobody to see what I'm doing. I'm my own man. You're right. You are your own man. You in solitary confinement inside you. I know I'm talking to someone. You're frustrated that your finances ain't the way they're supposed to be. How can they be where they need to be where you ain't where you need to be? You running around putting out fires when you need to put wood on the fire that matters the most. That's you. But here's the commonality though. The people that you're putting those little fires out, they broken just like you are too. They won't invest in themselves. They see their resources, may it be their time, maybe their physical self, is a commodity for barter. Because see, they don't have the courage to do it on their own. But they won't admit they don't want to live alone. And you know what? They shouldn't. And they won't. Because guess what? That devil, he will always give you what you want. Yes, he will. Excuse me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Let me blow this nose. Sorry about that. All right. I got this feeling as soon as I jumped up. I got a queen out there. And she likes the finer things in life. She does. But she's being spiritually attacked because her ethics and what she stands for is being brought up to question. She's being called out of her name. She's being physically and emotionally abused. And she says to herself every day, I'm just trying to get by the best way I know how. But there's no love in that. There's no love in that. You're just being a product of the false environment that you think you know. Oh, yeah. And you're frustrated because what you desire and what you long for is not being presented. And it never will be until you decide to love yourself. That's right. You have the audacity to say to yourself inside your mind, because that's why your mind is running nonstop. That's why you're not sleeping. That's why you're resulting to have that nightcap. Ain't nobody looking. I think I'll get high too. But you know how to mask that. But guess what? Even the most porcelain created mask have cracks in it. That's called your health. And you're afraid now because you're starting to see that the choices that you've made inside you are starting to resonate on the outside. And the weariness that's found in your mind is being made a mask on your face, and you can't hide it anymore. But here's the funny thing about it, and I say this figuratively. What about your friends? They're your friends, right? Aren't they supposed to be there for you when you're down? You can't get them on the phone, but soon as there's something to benefit them, they're right there. Don't you understand? Our opportunists don't need your help to expose themselves, and people don't want to see truth. I know there's somebody right now. You're a grown adult doing the same games that you were playing when you were a teenager. Don't realize that you're playing with your immune system. You're putting the false, uh, I want to use the term masking tape on your heart, thinking you can keep it together. But little do you know, you're only one disappointment from that breakdown. But sometimes you're going to have to go through things that are uncomfortable. Sometimes what happens is you're witnessing your harvest of things that you have done long ago. Don't you understand when you hear people say, don't burn your bridges because one day you may have to cross them again? But you'll come to realize the same bridges that you burned, you left the things that you needed. Oh, yes, I know I'm talking to someone. That's right, King. You getting tired of that other side of your bed. It's ice cold. You know why it's ice cold? Because there's a demonic presence where you lay your head. Don't you understand? And I'm going to give props where props due. There's a brother out there that's been doing this for a long time. His name is Israel Johnson. You may know him as the life coach. And from time to time, I check him out. And what's amazing is the fact that we too are parallel. Some of his topics are things I've spoken about. Some of my topics he speaks on. But I also know that that's what God does. God uses messengers. He uses anything he needs to convey the message. Why? Because what's at stake is your life, your legacy. Come on, Queens. I told you 3 years ago, stop trying to look for inspiration in false media. They call it reality TV, but there's no reality in it but destruction. Come on now. I ain't got to tell you this. We are in a pandemic, y'all. You don't believe me? Next time you turn on, I don't care if it's Judge Mathis or a show that has a TV audience in the background, this is what you do. When they do that pan shot and you got the audience in the back, look at the people. This is what you're going to see. You're going to see a bunch of women that all look the same. They all look tired and they all look worn. Mm-hmm. They think that they're slicker than the average bear. They're being cute. Ain't nothing cute by watching you die slow. Then you got those that say, hey, I will wear the mask that you want me to wear as long as you fuel my agenda. Don't you realize you're watching someone die slow? If you're constantly seeing someone go through disappointment after disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, and they still decide not to do anything different, they're your illustration of what not to do. That's right. I know I'm talking to someone. You've been loyal to this person half your life, but the problem is they not growing. But the reality is they don't want you to grow either. So you are two peas on a pod. The moment that you decide to claim your life back, that's the moment that you'll start to see something different. That's the moment that you'll start to get to know who you are. But I know there's somebody saying that, but Gerald, he makes me feel so good. I've never felt like that ever in my life. You know why? Because he is the one that's trying to destroy your life. He's just picking up the baton from what the last guy did to you. It's just a little bit more cunning, a little bit more brazen, a little bit more methodical. That's why you can't leave him. But let me ask you this. Do you actually think that you were brought on this planet to play somebody's punching bag? Oh, I know, I'm talking to somebody. You got all the courage to be on the phone to telling your little friends what you would do or what someone would, if that was you. But that all goes out the window when you hear that door open. I know I'm talking to someone. You better not have that food not ready. You go upside your head. Mm-hmm. You think that's supposed to be your life? Nah, it's not your life. It never was. You choose to be there. Just like you choose not to speak your truth. For some reason, something happened to you that you keep running. Guess what? Why don't you look down at your feet and see how worn they are? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they worn. And I'm saying that I'm saying that metaphorically, because you can have some pretty feet, but your soul is telling you. Why you keep hearing that little voice inside you? You said the voice is in my head. That's your conscience. That's your discernment telling you you deserve better. Or it could be this. You could be in a relationship of convenience because of it appeases what your family think. Guess what? Your family's supposed to protect you, not pimp you. I know I'm talking to someone. You laid up with this dude because of what he do. Guess what? Don't you think he knows what he does? Guess what? He knows how he got you too. And guess what? The moment that you decide not to do what you need to do, all he gonna do is pull from the bench. Oh yes, please believe that. So you say, well, I'm gonna be slicker than the average bear, and I'm gonna go ahead and have my side dude too. Little do you know that you might as well go ahead, pick out that nice little dress. Yeah, you do. Make sure your insurance premiums on point. Make sure you pay them, because you'll be 6 feet real quick. If not worse, you'll be behind some bars because you didn't had to kill that dude to get him off of you. Or worse, he done took your life. You think this is your life? Because you know how to get it popping? If you knew how to get it popping, why your life don't reflect it? Hmm? Oh, you know how to catch them. Don't you think Johns like being caught? Yeah. And you're wondering why those men call you out your name. It's because you're willfully disrespecting yourself. I do one better. And you're wondering why the people that really give a damn about you don't want to have nothing to do with you. It's not like they wrote you off, but it's too painful to watch. Ain't nothing worse to look at a pathological liar that won't own their stuff, but more importantly, claim their life. But you think that, I know somebody may be lost right now. What do you mean? Okay, Kings, how about this? This is what I'm talking about. You know somebody at your job, or you may have seen this out and about shopping. You see that pretty girl, and she with that pit bull, that two-legged pit bull, and you're like, what does she see in him? They don't even match. I'm not even talking about physically. I'm talking spiritually. You know, he's the handler or she's the handler. But what you don't realize is behind closed doors, there were some dudes that were paid and the roles are reversed. What I'm saying is God is not there. What you're witnessing is a defiled bed. Yes, it is. It's defiled. Queen, come on now. Let's be honest. Why you think your sex drive is through the roof right now? You can't get that quenched. It's not quenched. It's never enough. You're running around like you drafting guys, like you're like on a baseball team. Okay. He said something nice, so I got to give him some. You don't know him. You don't even know his middle name. But worse, you don't even know his health. He may be the man that's going to come in, that's going to set the tone for the demise of your life. That's right, Kings. You running after her because she got a big old butt. She got a pretty face, but she's financially irresponsible. She's socially unacceptable. And you think you're going to have a good family after that? No, it's not blessed. Can people change? Every day. Yes, they can. Every day. But not until you have the courage to go inside. Not until you have the courage to have that conversation with God. You got to understand something. Why would I reward you for bad behavior? Think about it. But see, people spend so much effort. You may have heard this too, and I'm going to get back to my point. They spend more effort trying to get out of work than doing work. I know I'm talking to somebody. You got some issue with your job right now. You are the workhorse of your office or your operation. You know it. Everybody else knows it. But the people that should be holding you down, they skating. They ain't never, but they get paid just like you do. And you frustrated. You frustrated. I'm gonna tell you what you do. You need to pause. Because you're not going to get nowhere in arguments. You can't argue with these people. These people are narcissistic. Haven't you noticed the people that show control issues have no control with their lives? Hmm? The people that ask for loyalty are the ones that are not loyal. You got don't go by what the mouthpiece say. Go by their actions. I know I'm talking to you, Queens. You saying I should have did that. You should see a pattern. You think these people don't know their bodies? You think these people don't know yours? They figured you out. You know how they figured you out? Because you're not spiritually protected. I ain't got to tell you that. Why you think right now, more than ever in this era, mental health issues are top priority. Nobody wants to talk about why Sarah's acting that way. Well, Sarah's acting that way because she's rebelling. She's acting that way because she's got a wound inside her. That's why you see Sarah with multiple men. She can't stay in monogamy. She don't know what monogamy is. You know why? Because she's not monogamous with herself. That's right, King. In the back of your mind, you scratching your head, you're like, I was wondering why it looked that way. Hello? Don't go by this. You better go by what you see, because that's truth. And you deserve better. So why won't you claim it? So the price is going to be this. You're going to cut some people off, and they're going to throw the kitchen sink at you. They only want what you bring to the table. That's it. I know you mad. I know you mad, King. You working so hard. Can't get ahead for nothing. Everything that you touch, it fall apart. You know why? It's because your environment is toxic. No, she's not going to be your wife. She can't be your wife because she doesn't know who she is. Of course she knows how to satisfy you. That's easy. Mhm. She knows the supplemental stuff. But when it comes to having that intimacy, like sitting down and have a conversation about the things that matter, you can't get that. Mm-mm. No. She's too preoccupied with technology, and oh, she's a whiz on that too. She has to. These are tools that she uses to keep you distracted. I know I'm talking. That's why you can't. That's why you can't. You can't account for her whereabouts. That's why your banking statements are low. That's why them bills ain't getting paid. You can't be in two places at one time. I say this out of love because you deserve better. And there are things that are being revealed right in front of you that you're not aware of. So it's important that you get back to one. It's important to have the courage to claim your life back. And when you decide to do that, I'm not talking, okay, I'm going to do a little bit today and run right back into the fire and get burnt up. It's a conscious choice. Look at your cell phone. If those people that are in your contacts have not earned the right to be called friend, why are you talking to them? Why are you giving them access to your life? Because I'm going to tell you what, an opportunist will never take ownership for their actions. And I hate to tell you this, they've got a supporting bench. Soon as you get close enough, they've already set up the next draftee. Mm-hmm. Women do it all the time. You know why they do that? Because they don't have intimacy with themselves. But they got that drawer. I know. What I'm saying is this. If you know that your dreams are important to you, then you need to plan and take the first step to plant those seeds so that your harvest after the work is done will come to pass. Don't set it by this time. Set it with His, because God is always there. He was there the moment He gave you your first breath. He's the one that wrote your legacy. So you got to do the work to fulfill it. Because look, the person you destined to be is going to look back at your life and you're going to say this. I wish I knew what I knew now then. I would have saved myself a lot of tears, a lot of heartache, and a lot of delay. Don't you think you're worth it? But you let the naysayers tell you, they'll convince you otherwise. Well, I got my problems, you got yours. but we gonna ride it out together. You're both gonna be broke. You're both gonna be yeah, both y'all gonna be pissed off at each other, and you'll never be happy because that's not your life. If you don't feel emotionally safe with the person that you share your life with, why they there? I know, Queen, you're saying, Gerald, I give him time and time and time again to show me something. I done been there. You say, you know what, just give me faith of a mustard seed. Just give me something to work with. And they never give you that. They give you excuses. Why? Because they don't respect you. They don't respect themselves. And what's going to happen? Something's going to happen that's going to shake you from the inside out. And it's going to force you to leave, to move on. I hate using the word move on because that's such a cop out when actually what you want is growth. You hear people say that all the time and that's another thing. Stop seeking advice from your family, your friends. You want advice? Talk to someone that don't have an invested interest in you, so that whatever they tell you, it will be pure. Because you got a lot of people that'll tell you what you want to hear just to hold you back from yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this. That's what manipulators do. But once again, there's that word. See, these are all the tools that an opportunist uses. I know I'm talking to you, Queen. You're saying, well, I just want him to get off the couch. Every time I turn around, he loved that joystick, then he loved me. Well, listen, unfortunately, in this era, it's been more and more prevalent that women want to take the shield up of raising a man. K. Michelle told you can't raise a man. You can't. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna put up with your BS, hoping that you'll get it. No, what you're witnessing is a man with a boy's spirit. And I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, daddy wasn't there. Daddy wasn't in there in that man's life. And he had to raise himself. And he's working with the tools that he got. But that's not your life. That's why I say people can change every day. But if they don't have a spiritual connection, they will never have a direction. Did you hear what I said? That's why I titled this video, Stop Deflecting and Start Reflecting. Because when you do, your viewpoint will change and you may actually see your purpose. And let's make this clear. Because I don't want somebody to say, well, you know what, you just bashing people. No, I don't. I say this out of love because you're settling. You're settling. You're smart. You college educated, but you're failing at life. You understand that a wealthy person can give advice to a person that is homeless to inspire. But a homeless person can't give advice to a wealthy person. There's not, so you see what I'm saying? There's nothing in common there. That's why having the mentality to fake it, to make it, never works. You stand out like a street light does. That's why I keep trying to tell you, Queens, stop playing with your body. You were made perfect. You got young girls rushing to get old. It's funny because You got these little girls emulating motherhood. The hips, the curves, the sway in her walk. She got that by becoming a mother. And you got seasoned women trying to be young. That's a state of mind, a state of being. That's why it's so surprising now, especially in minorities. Women in their 30s to 50s are more prevalent for HIV. You're in your sexual prime now, so your inhibitions are out there. You're sleeping around like it's gonna run out, when in actuality you needed just one. And you're wondering why you feel the way you do. You're wondering why you get the backlash that you do, because you're not claiming you. So if you're not claiming you, guess what? The one, God is saying, no, you don't. She ain't ready. And ain't nothing worse to watch someone live your blessing knowing that should have been you. You can fool them, but you can't fool yourself. That's why you're angry. You angry because you live in a life that should have never been yours. So when you going to take accountability for what you've done? When you going to forgive yourself? How about forgive those who have hurt you? I know somebody saying, he put his hands on me, Gerald. He sexually assaulted me, Gerald. He took it. He treated me like a piece of meat, Gerald. I can't forgive him. Yes, you can. You have to if you want to live your life. Doesn't mean you got to associate with him. But let's call a spade a spade. If that person actually assaulted you and you're turning a blind eye, you're giving them a pass, then you just to blame. Because if they put their hands on you, why didn't you press charges? Why didn't you move yourself out of that situation? Why did you put up with it? Because all you're doing is telling that other person, oh, I can do it again. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to be worse because they think they got a new fool. And you tell them, oh, I love you though. Why are you hurting me? Because they're watching you hurt yourself. That's not your life. That's not your walk. Don't wait till the 13th hour and you on that sick bed and you're looking back at your life and saying, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. Nah, because there's somebody going through that right now. If I could turn back the hands of time, R. Kelly, I would choose better. That's not your truth. It's only your truth when you make it your reality. But if you don't know who you are, you'll never know where you're going. So guess what? The devil turns around and says, okay, that last time, okay, so she want to stay there. She thinks she's strong. Even though that guy whooped her tail and she had to walk around like a servant, okay, all right, this time I know what I'll do. I'm going to make it so that she will leave him to the next man that's going to sodomize her, that's going to pimp her out. Oh, there's a lot of pimping going on. Doesn't mean you walk the block. There's economic pimping going on. You working your butt off. He laid up on on the couch expecting you to do everything. Okay, Miss Doubtfire, and you're wondering why your blood sugar is going the way it is. You're wondering why you're retaining water. You're wondering why your vagina looks the way it does. Because you're sleeping with a demon. You wondering, Kings, why you thinking you heard and saw what you did, self-doubting yourself. You're sleeping with a demon. And that is your lesson if you choose not to claim you. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your work. And for that, it helps me discern mine. There's no price tag that can be placed on your physical self, your heart, or your spirit. You're not for sale. So stop. Yeah. Because only one you're playing is you. Be blessed.